I'm Kim Brown, the Glass Magazine's beauty director and today's makeup artist. We're on set shooting a Chanel beauty special for Glass Magazine. Today we're going to be using the new Le Beige Golden Hour collection and the new shades of Le Beige bronzers, which I'm really excited to try out. I'm using the Healthy Glow bronzing creams, which are one of my favourite products. They're super blendable, creamy, not too much shimmer, matte, but still dewy. So with the bronzers, I want to create shape on the face, a little bit of sculpt and just warmth to the skin. I think looks so modern. So just apply the bronzer at the high points of the face where the sun would naturally catch, across the forehead a little bit, across the nose, and create shape under the cheekbones, around the temples. This is quite a light shade, so it's super natural. You can see it's just giving the face shape, but also a beautiful summer glow. I'm now going to go in with one of the slightly darker shades, just to create a little bit more definition. Just start close to the temples at the top of the ear and just blend out slightly into the forehead. So the heaviest part of the bronzer is actually at the top of the ear, and then you can just naturally blend it out from there. This creates a contoured look, but in a very natural way. A little bit under the jaw, again just to create more shape, to create a nice natural shadow under the jawline just for definition. Super flattering. We're just adding warmth and shape as we go along. And again, just go in with a bigger brush and just keep blending. No harsh lines. So I'm just adding a bit of colour. So here I'm going to start at sort of where the cheekbone is the most pronounced, actually quite high on the cheek. I feel like this is the most sort of flattering area. Also, it really catches light. This sort of dewy texture is going to bounce the light that we're going to use for the shoot. Again, just blend it in. We don't want any harsh lines, just want everything to be seamless. Quite good to press it in with your fingers. It just sort of melts into the skin. Okay, one of my favourite products. This is the Chanel Balm Essential, just to add extra highlights and just a bit of extra dewiness on the high points again. This looks really good on the eyelids as well. And then just a tiny bit across the eye. I'm actually going to use the bronzer as an eyeshadow. The cream texture looks so natural, in some ways nicer than an eyeshadow. Again, it's super blendable, so you're just adding a bit of definition into the socket line, slightly into the lash line as well, and just sort of circle round, blend it in, pat it in. It's actually such a good colour on the eyelids. You can see that you actually don't need to blend it out too much because it's so creamy. It just naturally blends in. You can see how it just adds shape and definition. For the lip, I'm using the Rouge Coco Flash 268 in Late Sun, which is like a bronzy, reddy, but it has an iridescence to it as well, which is beautiful. Super sheer in a way, juicy, and yeah, I love this colour. Finish off by actually pressing the bullet into the lip. It just helps to intensify the colour a little bit. And that's our first look. Beautiful, naturally sun-kissed bronzed. How good is that bronzer? So now I'm going to add this really amazing illuminating highlighting powder. These are Healthy Golden Glow powders. This shade is Eclat du Soir. I'm just going to start off with the pinkish shade and just sweep that right into the temples, and I'm going to sort of swish it into the eyelid as well. We're sort of going for a slightly Helmut Newton-esque 80s feel to this makeup look, but it's actually still really modern and natural. This palette actually works really well over the cream bronzers. You don't get any separation. It's absolutely seamless, as you can see. It's a really natural, soft pink glow. I'm now going to go into the eyelid with a smaller eyeshadow brush just to make that socket line a bit more intense. Again, using the highlighting palette, keeping everything soft, no harsh lines for this look. I'm now going to add a bit of the gold section, blending it into the pink. Just a touch on the cheekbones. It's a really pretty pink goldeny glow. So on the lip, again, I'm using the Rouge Coco Flash, this time in Rosa. This is actually a really amazing lavendery pink, again with iridescent particles in it. Again, I'm just going straight in with the bullet just for a bit more hold. We're ready for our second shot. So I'm going to show you how I like to apply liner. Chanel do such a good gel liner. It glides on, and then once it's dry, it doesn't move. I like to sort of follow the line from underneath the eye, so the lower waterline, if you look up, you can then sort of follow it underneath, as if you're doing a line from underneath, and then look down and drag it back in. I find that's usually the most flattering shape. Once you've got that perfected, you can then go into the inner corner and just blend it through. It's also good to get a bit of the product really close to the lash line so you don't have any gaps or anything. I sort of smudge it into the lashes almost. Tidy up a little bit with the cotton bud just to perfect it. You can almost sweep it out so you get this sort of everlasting line that gets thinner and thinner and thinner. To make the eyes the same, look at yourself in the mirror and just place a little dot where you think the wing should end, and then just aim for it. I do think it's really flattering though if you imagine that lower lash line, it's a continuation from that. And you can always use a little bit of micellar water on a cotton bud if you make any mistakes. I'm just going to use the lighter shade of the Le Beige Golden eyeshadow palette, which I absolutely love. The good thing about this palette is that you can actually just use one or two shades. You don't always have to use them all, obviously. I'm just using the lighter shade just to create a little highlight, just so you get like a flattering shimmer under the brow bone and just across the lid into the inner corner. Taking our Healthy Glow natural eyeshadow palette again in golden, I'm just adding a sort of peachy shade and sweeping it right across the lid. I'm actually going to go for quite a sort of 80s shape with this eyeshadow, and although everything else has been quite blended and seamless, I actually want quite a strong edge to this. I want to create almost like a tequila sunrise on the eye. So I'm then going in with the more golden shade. It's a bronzy golden, very iridescent, shimmery but not too glittery. Just into the socket, just sweep it around the socket, slightly into the lash line, again creating shape. I'm going to go in with a darker colour and create more of a sort of blunt edge, just to make it more editorial. So I've taken a smaller brush for this. I'm creating like a little line to the outer corner of the eye, towards the eyebrow, and I'm just building this kind of blunt C shape. It helps to make the model look up, or when you're doing it yourself, look up and have the mirror above you, and then you can see if that shape in the socket line and the edge is kind of even, and then you can just perfect. I'm just adding a bit of the lighter shade under the brow bone and into the inner corners of the eyes. Again, just to add dimension, it's super flattering when you have a highlight under the brow bone and a highlight in the inner corner. It really opens up the eye. I'm just connecting that outer corner with the waterline underneath, just to add more strength actually. For the lip, I'm using a coral pink, followed by the Rouge Cocoa Flash in peachy, and a bit of the shimmer. The colour works really well with the bronze eye. This time I'm just going to press it on with my fingers. It's almost like just to create a little highlight into the bow of the lip, and that's it.